Welcome to Sold Out Podcast. I'm Brian Angelis.
Eric Hoffman, back again.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Is it episode 3 or 2? People have been asking this because that's called the first one a pilot.
Well, that was your fault for calling it a pilot.
Well, it's a pilot. It's a real thing.
I know, but we didn't pitch it to NBC.
Yeah, but we had what are those called? What do you call them when you test it? When people are like, "Oh, that's good. I didn't like that guy. He's not funny."
Like a test show,
no focus group.
Focus group, yeah.
I was thinking we were gonna have a focus group, and so I wanted a pilot.
This is episode 3.
All right, it's episode 3. We have a great guest.
Amazing guest.
Excited for the guest. You teased it early in the week. We had a lot of people guessing who it was.
A couple people got it right.
Yeah, they did.
First one,
but they didn't say who. They just said the first name.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone knows.
There's some Bens that it could be. The president of your Penn League is a Ben.
Yes, but this Ben is his only name
That's Ben Hayes.
But in his Twitter handle, it's
Ben's Biz.
Ben's Biz. So
at Ben's Biz.
Kaylee Swanson, shout out to she guessed it first in the comments. So good work, K-Dog.
Yeah, there's a few that guessed it, but Ben Hill, that's a great guest for us because obviously most people that are listening are in minor league baseball.
Yep.
If you're not and you're just in sports generally, you should definitely check them out because I've always wondered, and maybe we should talk about it sometime, but why other leagues don't pick up more of the stuff that minor league baseball does, just make it better with more money and whatever, right? Do a promotional schedule and do all the stuff that we do, get creative and then, use it to sell more.
And it's happening more.
It
you
is.
See the Braves with the freeze.
Yeah.
And you've seen other Phillies, I mean, obviously we see a lot what they do. They've done Star Wars night, they've done Harry Potter night, that kind of stuff.
Italian Heritage Night.
Italian Heritage Night, Irish.
One of the best.
They do pretty much all heritage nights in Philly. But so a lot of teams are doing that, and I think you're gonna see more and more of that. I don't think they do it as well. There's more money behind it, but I think minor league baseball still does it better.
Oh, no question. And the point is, if you want to see what all those are, because we see teams in our league or that we're affiliated with, or that we know the people. But Ben covers all of them. He covers all 160 teams. He covers indie ball stuff sometimes. So there's a lot of good stuff on there. Definitely at least follow him on Twitter if you're not gonna check him out on the podcast he features on. The show before the show is one he's regular on, once a week. He has his own article. He's still putting out 2 a week right now, even with no baseball going on. He has some good content on there. So
so he's got a full page on MiLB.com, and like Brian said, follow him at Ben's Biz. But he's got good stuff. I mean, he's been even doing a lot of stuff with the promos that have been coming out, that kind of stuff, and just his opinions. He came out with an article today, right, about his favorite crazy fireworks shows he's seen. So he's kind of all over the map, but he was really the first guy to write routinely about minor league baseball from strictly the business side of things. While everyone else was writing about prospects, Ben was really the first guy to come in and say, hey, there's a really cool aspect to this. All these weird teams are doing weird things, and I'm going to write about it. So,
he's a nice guy.
Really nice.
We're well known as very nice guys.
Generally, I would think everybody would say that.
But I'd say Ben is definitely known more as a nice guy.
He's a nicer guy.
Yeah, for sure.
We've known some nice people, but Ben's a really nice guy. Very positive.
Well, excited for that. I think that the obvious, it's probably almost an expectation, our first topic. I personally don't want to talk about it a ton.
It's a sad day.
Yeah. So 2020 minor league season is not happening. And for me, this has been a reality for at least a month, maybe 2 months. So it being announced almost did nothing. Whereas I know a lot of people were kind of I don't know, either more surprised or just felt differently about it. I already went through, I guess, the stages of grief, or whatever it's called. I don't know how you felt about it, but
I mean, I think everybody in minor league baseball kind of knew what was coming, and it's been touched on a ton this week on Twitter, especially. But that day when it finally happens, you're like, man, this really sucks. So I know, a lot of people were probably boozing pretty hard on Wednesday night. It was, right?
You poured one out.
I poured one out. Yep, my traditional Bud Light Lime post-game beer. So it definitely sucks. I mean, everybody knows how fun it is to, you work hard all year. Whether you're in sales, you're in promotions, whatever. You get ready for the season, selling season tickets, groups, promo schedule ready to go, giveaways, and then it's just kind of all evaporates. So everybody knows how great it is when you have that first sold out Friday night game, and you have that big group coming out, and you have that great all encompassing promo, and all that's just kind of gone. and it sucks. But as I tweeted that night, is everyone's going to come back better. I think 2021 is going to be amazing. Minor league baseball will kill it, and yeah. So we'll have to move on. And like I said, I don't really want to talk about it too much. Everyone's really already touched on it.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, we're talking about 2021 now and what we do, and that's really all you can do now.
Yep.
It's still weird. Obviously, it's so different, and I get it. Like safety, it's just so bizarre to me. Like I was trying to look at like the whole scope. And I'm like, we played during World War II. And like Vietnam, like there was no stoppage in minor league baseball.
No, it's
like,
first ever. Isn't it crazy that we're working for minor league baseball during the first ever missed season?
And I was thinking about this too. There's a lot of people that if you're like 35 or in that range, you basically came into minor league baseball right when the Great Recession occurred.
Yeah.
And now you're working in baseball during the pandemic.
Yep.
Like it's already, I mean, for the people in sales at least, it's already not like, I mean, you're not selling gold. It's like you're selling stuff that's like not that easy,
Yeah.
and now you put them in these circumstances.
Yeah, you're certainly not selling something that anyone needs.
No.
But,
Some people would argue the contrary.
Sure. But I wouldn't know. But yeah, so I mean, we'll move on, and I'm excited to see what Ben has to say about everything. Obviously, if you guys saw on Twitter too, he had a great video where he kind of summed it all up, ripped the shot at the end of it, and so that was kind of cool to see. But he really said it best, and then right away, teams started jumping right into the mix with merch, with everything.
Myrtle had the best shirt.
Absolutely, I bought one right away. I saw, we were talking about before. I saw Ryan Moore say, somebody buy my shirt, and I just was like, screw it, and went and bought it right away. Yeah. Beautiful shirt, great job to those guys. Shout out to Bowie too. They were the first one I saw that did the undefeated tour shirt, and a lot of teams have done it since. But it's cool to see teams being creative and coming up with things on the cusp, which I think is the coolest part of minor league baseball.
Yeah, I saw Durham proclaimed there was some rule written in where Woolly Bull actually wins when there's no season. And then Columbus had they declared they won the Governor's Cup.
Yep.
Whatever. So yeah, people are doing it, and it's again, ingenuity in minor league baseball, I guess. But I'll be curious to see. We talked about it last episode, like what everyone does from now. We're about to roll out like 6 different brand new events.
Yep.
Coming up pretty soon, and we'll see how that works. I mean, there's gonna be teams that have taxi squads that they have to deal with versus trying to put on events. Different states are gonna be in different capabilities and what they can do. So it's gonna be nuts. Yeah. I mean, be something to follow along with. But
speaking of nuts, Lansing, when we were just talking about that, they have the Lemonade League coming out. So a lot of teams are doing crazy stuff. Obviously, Nashville, they're doing their own thing, bringing in the players and everything like that. Yeah. So that's crazy. But old Uncle JD would say, Jason Dombach would always say, only industry where you can go 9 a.m. come up with an idea, implement it at 5, and we're gonna see that more than ever. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be come up with the idea at 9, implement it at 10.
Yeah,
for the next foreseeable future. So
right,
I'm excited to see what people come up with though, because innovative bunch for sure.
Yeah, the Nashville thing was interesting. We didn't talk a ton about it.
No, we didn't get a chance to. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll give them credit, and then I'm gonna take some credit away.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm gonna give them credit because what was presented was amazing. Like the headline got everyone.
They sold us.
Yes, they did.
They sold us.
They did. Now they cannot sell out because they still have capacity issues there and whatever. But
yes.
Anyway, yeah, they did because basically what was presented, if you haven't seen it, what was presented was that they're basically going to go out and just sign guys, and they're just going to play a season as the Sounds and also this other team that's going to play against them and have their own and then there's also a portion of the deal where Major League Baseball could then sign some of them, and then Nashville will get paid out part of their contract.
Yep.
And it's crazy, right? Well, this is where I'll take credit away. Not really. So that's not really what's happening. Major League Baseball indicated maybe they want to do some things. If you actually read the article that came out then,
yeah.
It basically has Adam News saying, he's a general manager, basically saying some things like this is what we plan to do, we hope, so if you read it, it's like, well, these things aren't all 100% happening.
Yeah.
And like, they obviously, like anybody, there's so many unknowns. Like, will the city even allow it? Can people come to the game? Like,
and things can change so fast. Everything's changing so fast. But still, flip side, they are able to sell, I think, 25% capacity as of now.
Yep.
Every other suite too, things like that. So they'll be able to get some people at the ballpark and generate some revenue out of it, which is cool.
Even if they can do the worst thing that was mentioned there, it's going to be great. Like, it's still going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's a little different than the headline.
Yeah.
It was like, we're a new team, basically, which was nuts.
I like it though.
It's cool.
They did a good job. They sold us. I think that's great.
I started with giving them credit. It was the first thing I did.
So shout out Nashville. That's cool. Really, really innovative stuff there. So everybody down there killing it.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask Ben, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Is because he can't answer this way, nor should he. But I want to know like what the most underrated team is. Because we talked about last episode about reps.
Yep.
So forget like from a rep perspective, just like who's the team that actually is the most underrated. And I think there's been like waves of different teams that have been doing a great job. But I want to know like what he would say. I know he won't say it.
Yeah, I know.
Who do you think it is?
You put me on the spot. The most underrated?
The most underrated team.
I don't know who the most underrated team. Who do you think it is?
Right now, I think it's Daytona. I think it's the Tortugas.
How can you be underrated? They won Team of the Year 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is, if you were to go around and you were to just take a poll and you asked every single minor league baseball employee who the best team is, and you were like add all those results together, I don't think it would show in the top 25, the top 30. So you're telling me the team of the year is not even going to be in the top 25, top 30?
I mean, if you believe that, then sure, they are underrated. I think that what Daytona does is awesome.
Yeah.
They do cool stuff, just even from the rebrand years ago to the Tortugas. Like, that was sick.
Are they the Cubs?
They were the Cubs before, yeah. And so, like, from that point on, like, I mean, they've been doing awesome stuff every step of the way. So I'm on board with that. I mean, I don't know if they're underrated, but I'm a huge Myrtle Beach fan.
Yeah.
They're easily my favorite team out there. Like, between Derby on the field, I mean, just everything they do.
Battle at the Beach.
Beach. Oh, the bumper balls was epic. Yeah. Everybody was tuned into that. That was like an ongoing saga.
I was interested.
I mean, the new logo, the new pirate logo they came out with now. Like everything. Like, I think what they do is great. So I don't know if they're underrated, but they're certainly a team that I keep an eye on a lot.
That becomes a question too, and that's why I can't ask them, because it's also a dumb question. Because it's like, well, you may already think someone's really great. Mm-hmm. And when I ask you, then you're not going to underrate them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Ben, very positive guy. I don't think he's going to want to say someone's underrated, because it's almost like insulting.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him.
Right. I think I'm underrated.
I'm sure you do.
I think I'm way better than what the polls would say.
Underrated in
across the board, I think. All attributes. I
think you're perfectly rated.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think you're underrated, but
I also, by the way,
see what I have to deal with here?
Well, let me get back to the end of the season, and we're going to leave it forever. For a couple minutes. I wore this t-shirt on purpose.
Game day.
Let's say that? I thought it said game on. Oh, game day. All right. Doesn't matter what it says. It's the same message. Game day.
Yeah.
This was a shirt that was given out at winter meetings this year.
Okay.
The irony that I get this season that they're promoting where there are no games.
I mean, they didn't know.
Is this the most valuable t-shirt in minor league baseball history now?
I don't think so.
It might be. It's up there.
I guess. I
mean, this is when I tell my kids, and they're already not.
Yeah, but here's the thing: thousands of people have that shirt.
Maybe if they didn't throw it away or lose it, or
it's a nice shirt.
I actually
good
do like
quality.
the shirt.
It looks like is it
47 brand.
Yeah, 47 makes good stuff.
We're not currently sponsored still, by the way. So 47 brand, maybe we can add them.
Or Ebbets Field.
Getting that mentioned.
Ebbets Field, I have about 50 of your shirts. If you want to sponsor us, this is probably a great podcast for Ebbets Field, actually.
It is.
To sponsor us. So, hey, shout out to them if you want to give us a call.
Because if you don't know who the Sugar Kings are and you work in minor league baseball, get out of minor league baseball.
Oh, that's pretty harsh, man.
I don't think it is.
Well, I'm not on our team because obviously I'm a big fan of them. But like, there's probably a lot of people out there that have no idea that the Sugar Kings.
We don't have room for them.
They're the reason we're the international league.
Yep.
They were international, and Fidel Castro was in the dugout. There was a riot in the International League Championship in the 50s, and People stormed the field, and they were actually a Cincinnati Reds affiliate, and Major League Baseball said, we are not sending players there anymore. And that was the end of the Sugar King. So, RIP, but one of the greatest logos of all time.
Yeah, it is a great shirt, for sure. The Sugar Kings were great.
Yeah.
Maybe a future team.
Maybe a future team.
In Cuba. There were some rumblings. That was like 5 years ago. Remember that?
Penn State went there.
Penn State
Obama went there.
Yeah. Who was more influential in the international relations? I don't know.
It's hard to say.
But and that's kind of died. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I think we know what happened, but
we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll talk that. Maybe we'll talk some Sugar Kings with Ben, some other teams as well. But anyway, we're talking about before we always are kind of like, what are we gonna do? So we don't script anything. We don't write anything.
Nothing.
Notice we're not looking. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see we don't look at anything because we just make the whole thing up.
We have nothing.
And so he was kind of asking me like, what do you got or whatever. And I basically say I have some things and I never have anything. But then I kind of know like some things I just want to say.
He springs things on me out of the blue.
Which I do anyway, but now it's funnier because I get to do it and then somebody, like the 4 people that are going to watch this, are going to be like, oh, that was funny, he did that too.
Yeah.
So here's what my thing was right now.
Here we go.
I want the people at home to decide. So this is not a me or you opinion.
Okay.
I want the people at home, people that are watching this or listening to this, to like, I don't know, reply back to us or something, and I want to see it in the comments, I think we need to have a competition of who is more of a man. And now, let me lay out some things. I may be drinking a LaCroix.
What in the world?
No, but listen, because this guy poses as a man. But let me get into what I'm explaining here. One of us drives a Jeep Wrangler, and one of us drives a station wagon, and one of us
I have a Subaru.
And one of us has a lion hunting dog, and one of us has a bowl of lint that makes noise.
A mini golden doodle. She's so cute.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Same thing I said. So just those are 2 facts, but we can go on and on and on. From your Starbucks order, I drink an espresso, and he drinks a iced coffee with sugar-free vanilla and non-fat milk. That's the order, right?
I keep it light. Yeah, I like my coffee.
Mine's 5 calories.
So is
It's
mine.
not light. But you have an enormous thing that's like...
I drink a lot of coffee.
I'm so embarrassed to order. I don't order it, right? You order it. I make you yell across.
You know my opinions on coffee. There's a reason Barry Bonds took steroids. He was the best in baseball, and he took steroids to become the greatest of all time.
Okay.
Coffee gets you where you need to go.
I will agree that if you're working in sports and you're not on coffee or coffee product,
yeah,
an Arabica bean, Arabica bean product,
you need to be on coffee.
Get out. You need to get out.
You need to be on coffee.
You have to be.
In any role, in any sports team,
it is basically the steroids of work.
You need it. And I know there's some people on our staff who don't drink it still.
I didn't even listen to this, by the way. Can you believe that?
At least they subscribe. I know there's past employees that refused to drink and then came back later and said, hey, I started drinking coffee and now I'm crushing it at my job.
It's not. We're saying like we made this up. Like as if
no,
it's not
they've been drinking it forever.
Yeah, but I mean everybody drinks coffee. They're like, oh yeah, obviously.
But there's plenty of people that don't.
That's amazing to me.
I can't live without it. So,
and tell us about your dog though. I want to know more about your dog. But specifically though, I want to know how you arrived at that's a dog that you wanted to get.
Well,
I like your dog. I don't know if your dog likes me.
Well, I know your dog doesn't like me, but I mean, my wife is allergic to dogs and cats, and golden doodles don't shed.
There's a lot of dogs that don't shed.
But they're cute. Golden doodles are cute. We want a specific color of like more of a tannish red. And
how much was outfits brought into this equation
when
you're shopping for a dog?
Outfits?
Yeah, it's like you can put an outfit on the dog.
No, we don't do that.
Well, you could.
I could. No, it was never brought up. Like Halloween costumes and stuff, but like.
Sure.
So yeah, she doesn't shed. She's tiny, and you can take her anywhere easily on the go, and yeah, she's cool, and she barks a lot. There's nothing really more than that.
Well, I mean, mine barks a lot too. They're different pitches, I think.
Very high pitch bark, but yeah, she's cool. I mean, Rome's cool, and I don't, so I like what I like,
I know you.
Maybe some people have to go out of their way to try to prove that they're a man. Other people are just comfortable.
I knew that's where it was going already.
Yeah.
But no, that's fine. Again, this is not for us to discuss. I just wanted to see what other people thought. in the comments. It's possible that 99% of people agree with you. And then I will openly say, man, I was wrong. I'll issue a public apology. I will.
Have you ever been wrong?
I'm going to do some research. I might get back to you.
Okay.
None that come to mind.
Anyway, so what else is going on?
Well, okay. One thing, I don't want to get into plants too early, but this has been a major problem for me.
Okay.
I had a plant infestation, and I had bugs on my plants outside, and it was eating my orange tree, and it was eating my zucchini, like flowers, like straight, just chopping them off, like beheading them and just leaving.
So what'd you do?
Well, I researched it forever. Well, first thing I did is I panicked. And I brought them inside because I'm like, oh, bugs aren't inside. But then I was like, oh,
but now the bugs are inside.
No, I brought them inside. I brought them right into this room actually, so you're probably infested.
Perfect.
So then I went and I did the research. I found some like sprays I can do. So I put some sprays on.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm afraid to eat them because now I don't have organic products.
Yeah,
I think it's what organic is.
Exactly. You're not using chemicals.
I sprayed them. No more organic.
Well,
so now I don't know what to do.
You might as well just go to the grocery store.
I know. Well, that's why this is a dilemma that I'm having. This is like my week was like just thrown by this.
Well, what are you gonna do? I had a pretty basic week. Nothing crazy. You know what I've been watching all week is Jay Cutler on Instagram trying to find out who's killing his chickens.
I did see, yeah.
That's some good stuff. Ended up being a raccoon, spoiler alert, but that was cool. That was entertaining. We need sports. I just need sports. I'm tired of all this. There's nothing left to do.
Yeah, we're doing like basically a sports podcast. And
no sports
going on.
It's all negative. Everything we've reported on so far and talked about has been negative pretty much.
What about the cardboard cutouts?
I love it. A's are doing it. If you get hit, you get the foul ball.
Yep.
I think it's great. Every team should do that. A's are they're one of those teams that they do a lot of cool stuff. The minor league baseball.
Are you saying they're the most underrated MLB team?
I mean, probably. I mean, their payroll's like. I mean, I think the Pirates are also perfectly rated in last place, where they probably will end up.
That might be true.
But I think that's cool. I mean, obviously taking the lead of like a lot of the Korean teams were doing with the cutouts and stuff like that.
There's got to be cooler stuff than that. I refuse to believe that's like what we're doing.
I think that we're about to find out. Teams are going to. I mean, I feel like a lot of the major league teams are just going to tarp it off and throw a sponsor on there, which they should. But like, if it was minor league baseball and we had to play games, like what the hell would we do? I don't know, but I'm sure we'd come up with something.
Holograms.
That seems like it might be out of the budget.
But if you had everyone crowdfund a hologram, you have one hologram and it just keeps changing people.
Well, the one team, a soccer team, way back in the beginning of this, when they first started coming back, they did a Zoom call where you can be like in the stadium and like they had all their fans. So that was kind of cool.
You have the guy like walk around like, no, move a little left.
I don't think so. I feel like they just have like a stationary visual.
Well, you could just have all the reps be in different sections, just like holding the iPad.
Now there you go.
Tune in to whatever Zoom call you want to be in.
Yeah,
you could do that.
That'd be great. Yeah, that's the ultimate rep right there.
Can you imagine the amount of things though that like would happen? You'd be on this call with all these people you don't know, like the crazy things. Like I was on a call. Did I say this on the podcast before? A guy took a dump.
I don't think so.
I was on a Zoom call and a guy took a dump during the call. Like thought he wasn't on the screen. He's just like watching whoever's talking. And the guy's like received an award and he's like thanking people. And the guy just stood up, went, took a dump, lights off, went back, sat back down like nothing happened.
Technology, man. It'll get you.
That would be happening in every stadium. There'd be like, can you imagine those people doing so much crazy stuff they'd be doing? It'd be unbelievable.
Mean, even we have one of the older people on our staff, Ryan Hines. He's getting up there.
Our eldest
statesman.
Yes.
He just this morning on our staff call. He just all of a sudden made the call about 5 minutes early and sent everyone into a panic. So I mean, even people in their 30s are struggling.
I was not happy about that. He's in his 30s. He looks great for 30.
I was thinking he was older.
Anyway, that joke would be funny
to the 5 people that watch. Sorry about that, guys.
So what we could do? What about alert people? What if you? So all right. I know what you're gonna say, but I'll say it anyway.
Great.
What if you had your rep though go out on a Zoom call, but not a Zoom call, like just a call, audio, phone, a telephone, and they just told you what was happening during the game, and you could be on this conference call.
That sounds awful.
Audio version.
That sounds.
Are you telling me that broadcasters shouldn't be doing baseball games?
Oh my goodness.
That we should have radio broadcasts? That's what you.
I'm not saying that.
That's what you just said.
No, because. I
support the radio broadcasting community, and you just said a show.
I support the radio broadcasting community because anybody out there, if there's any Phillies fans out there, everybody knows that the radio broadcast, Scott Fransky and Larry Anderson, is the best. and so everyone loves to watch that. Everyone or listen to it, not watch it. But what you're describing is not exactly that. You're not personally on the phone.
Yeah, I want the rep. So you're going to be standing.
I know
in
what you're
section
saying.
107.
I know what you're saying.
Oh, and he just threw over to first. He's out. That's a funny promo. How's that not a funny promo? I mean, nobody's going to do it.
It's not a promo, but
That would be the promo, is what I'm saying. You'd be selling that promo where you're on the phone commentating the whole game.
I think it'd be funny, like you said, if they're on a Zoom. Imagine that the rep's sitting there in like their person's seat, and they're like, "Oh, I want to move up to the front row. There's no one there." You're like, "I can't do it because this is just not your seat." You're
that's a different Zoom call.
Yeah,
you got to be a full season to go down there.
And they're like, "I can see there's no one up there, but you're not going to let them because
it's up to them. They don't have to show up. They don't have the ticket.
They have to upgrade if they want."
Hey, what do you think about this? There's teams out there they're charging the full PSL amount, even though you can't go to the game.
Who's doing that?
Big Four. I'm not gonna name who it is.
Oh, well, you see the opposite of that? That's crazy. Why would you do that? I mean, I know why you do it, but you see Giants Jets are doing the opposite. They're letting you take off.
No.
Oh, are they?
You're just gonna name them, okay?
Okay. So they're making you pay for the whole thing.
You're paying your PSL, but you don't have to pay for your season ticket. But then you can have it back.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I did read the article. I just saw the headline.
Well,
so I assume they're letting them out of everything.
No, they have to pay the PSL still,
but not the tickets.
So if you're the team, you're getting the same amount of money. You're getting the PSL money, and then you're going to have the season ticket holder. It may not be that person, but it's going to be somebody else.
It's a tough call. That's a tough call for a rep.
They're not playing football, by the way. Preseason's cut in half.
Even if they're not playing football or they are playing football, they're not going to be able to have full capacity. So somebody's going to get screwed out of going anyway. But imagine that you're making that call. Like, hey, you can't go to the games, but you got to pay.
I think they're running the card. I don't think they're making that call.
You're probably right.
Not everyone operates the same way.
You're probably right.
That's going to be interesting.
Well, we'll see how that goes, I guess.
Yeah. So, kind of in our world, as we're not professional podcasters. No one's actually paid us yet.
Yet.
Technically, we're negative. We've paid dollars.
We put money into this, certainly.
So, Spotify, obviously a huge platform, bought Joe Rogan, we covered it.
Yeah.
But, see, they're launching a gaming platform.
I did not see that, no.
They're launching a gaming platform, and what happened was there's a bunch of guys that are currently, they have a Twitch contract, or other contracts elsewhere. And they were all basically talking about moving to Spotify and helping them launch big names.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Disrespect was one of the people that was on there. It's a huge gamer, been around forever, and
he's gone, right?
Twitch banned him.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay.
For just talking about going to Spotify.
It's a good move by Twitch.
For talking about it, you can't now entertain. That's like you got fired for taking an interview somewhere else.
That probably happens all the time.
I guess, but what? Really?
I mean, Twitch is saying, "Hey, we invented this, bro. Back off."
I mean, I guess, but what a move!
So is that what it was? I know there was a lot of mystery out there. Not that I know who Dr. Disrespect is. I just saw it on Twitter.
Well, it's a big piece in the community. But now the point is, Spotify getting into the game. So now you thought all of a sudden it was getting smaller because Mixer's gone, and now you got Spotify, who's to me it's so weird. Spotify is the number one platform in terms of music streaming. Now they're going to be a gaming platform for video.
Yeah,
they're building a little empire.
They got their podcasts on there.
Now they got Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's huge. That's big moves.
Yeah, I mean they're making a lot of moves, for the last year. Spotify, they really are, and it doesn't seem like other companies are taking podcasts as serious as Spotify, which is weird. Apple doesn't really do a lot with them. They don't put them out there. I know Spotify advertises for individual podcasts because they want you to go and listen to them, but I don't think Apple's doing that. I don't think anybody else is doing that. I know there's a lot of platforms out there, but Spotify's, I think in the long run, they're going to win big time by taking this serious. I don't know. It's kind of mind-blowing to me that people aren't taking it serious. I don't know.
It is. Well, where I'm going with this is, can you see integrations into sport beyond this? So the reason I'm bringing this up, we both have YouTube TV.
Yep.
And they just got a contract on with Viacom.
And they just screwed us.
Well, they upped it. Basically, you're paying for Viacom if you have them. But now you get BET, Nickelodeon, MTV, VH1, whatever.
Yep.
Right?
And
no
HBO.
Choice. And HBO, yeah. So now it's okay, everybody has to But when you look at football games, they were like on Twitter, they were on Facebook, they were on YouTube, they were on like I don't even know.
So you're saying Spotify can buy the rights to Monday Night Football?
Is Spotify going to be a legitimate contender for you having to watch a sporting event in the near future?
I don't think they're going to have. I don't know if they could. Maybe in like a smaller platform like how Facebook did, where they would buy like a game. Like I don't think that they could have it just broadcast. I don't think the NFL will ever in the near future, maybe 5-10 years down the line, maybe. But like I can't see them going strictly on like a platform that not everyone can get. You know what I mean? Like even when those games were on Facebook, they were still on Fox. And and actually, as much as you hate on them, and we all do for not being progressive, MLB actually did this already, where they had plenty of games that were just on Facebook and nothing else last year. And it was really annoying, to be honest, because I don't want to watch a game on Facebook.
Well, they have Facebook Watch because they're trying to promote that new app.
I know, but I don't. Yeah, so I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
but
that's what like Big Baller Brand or whatever was on that. That's what you
big. Yeah, RIP.
No, Mello.
Well, I know, but like.
Yeah, I know the brand.
The brand is not going to be there.
Right.
Like, he's going to be wearing Nike. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I think that is going to be one of the. I mean, if they're going to put $100 million down on a podcast, like they are going to be willing to put money down on like getting.
That's a good point, though. I could definitely see that. I mean, the DirecTV deal is coming up, just in general, which is huge. Yeah. Like DirecTV is screwed without that deal. But I think people are getting sick of it, and they don't want to pay that money anymore. And they realize that people are cord cutting. Like, you know, I go around it, use the old student discount. If you know somebody with a student ID, use that discount for DirecTV Sunday Ticket, folks. Saves you a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I got DirecTV for that reason, and I've now also left for that reason.
Yep. After the 2-year deal was up, got too much. I'm not trying to pay $400 a month for TV when I don't really even. And I'm really realizing now how little I watch TV with no sports. I watch Netflix. There's not really a lot of live television I watch anymore, and I'm really seeing that now with no sports.
All right, now this is a perfect segue. I had a point to this, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My original question.
I don't even remember what it was.
It's been 30 minutes past, but here's what it was. Have you seen the show Alone?
No.
It's on Netflix. You know Naked and Afraid?
So I've heard about this. It's similar, right?
Okay, they go to like the Arctic though.
Okay.
They have to survive for 100 days.
Oh, that's a lot.
And they bring 10 items with them. They're not naked, but they can bring 10 items. They have to survive 100 days. Naked and Afraid is like 21 days.
Mm-hmm.
100, okay?
It's crazy.
So I was going to say, who would survive, me or you?
Oh, well, I don't think either of us.
No, who would survive longer, me or you? Yeah, I'm not making it 100 days. Definitely not. Hunt your own food, shelter, cook. Remember, I have a Jeep Wrangler.
You're going to bring it with you?
It might be one of my 10
Yeah, but you're going to get stuck in the snow, and I'm not.
I'm also going to drive for like an hour and get gas.
Yeah, I was going to say, when it rains, my car is going to be nice and warm, and yours is going to be a pool.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go with me on this one.
You think?
Yeah.
See,
I know you think it's you.
Oh, okay. You have the advantage where like you grew up with bears.
I
live in a forest.
Sure. I wasn't like interacting with them.
You ate poison ivy in your salads. You lived in the woods. You were a woodsman.
Sure. I was far from a woodsman.
I live by a mall.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be a big negative.
I certainly grew up in a wooded area in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time just like watching the sports and stuff. I wasn't like out hunting and doing that kind of stuff. So I have no experience in that.
Right. So there's that. But I think how much is it like, okay, how am I gonna outsmart this? And I'm gonna live 100 days. I'm just gonna be a smart person and live 100 days. And I was like, probably 0.
Yeah.
Probably 0. But maybe it depends what items I bring.
Yeah, I don't know.
What are your 10 items? You have to survive on all 10 items.
I have no clue. You can't put me on the spot like this. Come up with 10 items to survive.
You may not have a choice. It could be the apocalypse tomorrow. Zombie apocalypse. You can get 10 things in your station wagon. What are you getting?
I don't know. I'm not answering this. Nobody wants to hear this.
That's fine. Watch Alone though. It is good.
I'll check it out. It sounds like something good actually.
It is good. All right. What else you got? We got to call Ben soon. So
we got to call Ben. I mean, we pretty much covered everything. Promos of the week. I'm excited to have Ben on. I mean, obviously, we talked about the rough week of minor league baseball, but I mean, yeah, I think we're about ready to call Ben. I don't know if you have anything else.
We talked plants a little bit, but you didn't talk any plants. I know you're working on a guy right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did have a new addition to the family. I can't remember what it's called. White. It's a big
leaf plant.
Big leafy tropical plant. Huge leaves. Big addition. Actually, just grew a leaf in the last week. It's been so humid and rainy, so that's been good. But that's been really cool to get. So he's out in the patio right now. What about you? You got any plants going on?
Well, I was looking at those palm trees.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You can get a palm tree. It's called a windmill palm, and it can survive even if it snows.
Yeah, we're just in the range of we're 4 or 5 or whatever.
No, 7. But we're 7B. So it depends on how specific you want to get. Because some people say 7B, like, you can get away with some other stuff, but maybe not. And it depends on how cold the winter is. I said, well, how are you going to predict that? So I don't know if I should get it or not. Because I know I'm going to get it. It's like $100. I'm going to get it. It's just going to not make the first winter. And then Erik is going to be like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yes.
That's not going to go well.
No, I've tried it with fig trees, kiwis, cold hardy figs. They never make it.
No,
never do.
I'm in the same boat. Most of my plants that live on my patio in the summer come in the winter inside, and they don't last.
No, my orange makes it, but I take extra care of that.
Yeah,
and it was ruthlessly attacked this week. But I'm gonna get some big leafy greens out here.
I like that out of you.
I want to be like a Caesar.
Yeah, you want to go. That's why I have them on the patio. You go out there, you feel like you're in like a tropical environment. It's relaxing.
Not a tropical environment. I want like someone's fanning with leaves.
Like ancient Greece, like Rome or something.
Ancient Rome, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, that's what I want. In my head, that's what's going to occur with my new plant.
Cool. I mean,
you can't buy that experience.
You probably get your kids to do that.
Actually, maybe, yeah.
You just tell them it's like something cool and they'll do it.
100%, yeah. I need you to help me with work.
Yeah.
That's the big thing now. It's always something.
There you go. That's something good to look forward to, I guess.
Okay. We'll ask Ben about plants too.
Have to. I wonder what he's doing with plants.
We've had Lowell just got new plants.
Yeah.
So I think there's more plant people out there than we originally anticipated because we thought there might be 0.
It's probably tough for him to have plants, but I don't know. We'll see.
He's in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's dealing with a lot of fireworks. You see that?
Yeah, a lot of
We're
fireworks.
just shooting on fireworks and everything.
Yeah, it's happening here too.
It happened here, and so somebody went out and they were grinding a tree stump at 7 a.m. in response to the fireworks in our neighborhood.
Love that.
That's how petty people are getting.
Love that. Gotta do what you gotta do, man. All right, well, we're gonna call out Ben here in a minute, and we'll talk to him, and yeah, see what Ben has to say how everything's going with no baseball.
Sounds good. Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to Sold Out Podcast. Brian and Erik still here. Thanks for sticking with us this far. We've mentioned for a little bit now how excited we are for our next guest.
Yeah, big guest.
For a few different reasons. I personally have been following Ben for a while, and it's kind of weird because through my journey in minor league baseball, I've always read a lot of the stuff that Ben is doing. That's kind of how I got my information, really, to be honest with you. I almost use him as like our news source for what we were doing. And it's been 15 years that Ben's been doing this at this point, covering baseball, traveling around. I know his shtick for a while has been he's been everywhere, so he's been to all the minor league baseball parks, which has been fantastic. So we're thrilled to have him on. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Good to be here virtually. It's good to be in my apartment every day, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do pride ourselves on the fact that we actually make our podcast specifically makes all of our guests feel the most at home because we've exclusively had guests during quarantine and everyone's been at home.
Yep.
So we have that going for us, if nothing else.
That's a major distinction. You should be very proud.
It is, for sure. I wanted to start off on a bit of a serious note and hopefully not much of a serious note after that. But I have to say, when I saw your statement on the announcement of no minor league baseball season, I kind of wanted to take that and can it and give it to like everyone that worked in front offices in minor league baseball because it was so well said in terms of what the teams mean to the community, how you can continue to support the teams, how the people that are working there or the fans of those teams are going to make it through. It was just really well said. I mean, there's really nothing else to go into. Just watch it for yourself, to be honest. But
yeah, if you haven't seen it, go out and see it because nobody said it better than Ben did. 100%.
Yeah, so I appreciate that personally. And, I don't know, since it's happened, if there's been anything else that you've kind of seen or responses you've got that expand upon the no 2020 season.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to digest. The statement you're talking about, I posted, we all lose track of the days. It's Thursday, and we just heard that was on Tuesday, just 2 days ago, that the season was officially canceled. So the statement you're talking about was on Twitter at Ben's Biz, and I'm sure you guys knew. I mean, everyone in minor league baseball, knew this was coming. The season was going to be canceled. It would kind of been a foregone conclusion, just kind of waiting for the official word. But I imagine, as it was for you and your colleagues and so many people around the country, when it became official, it was just it was like a gut punch. As much as I was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's going to be canceled, in my mind, once we knew it was canceled, it really hurt. So yeah, I just tried to speak from the heart about it. And in the last 2 days, I think it's just kind of still processing, where do we go from here? And it's just such a hodgepodge of responses. We have some teams, based on the market they're in, forming their own kind of little quasi leagues, like a 2-team, 4-team wood bat leagues. So we're going to see that kind of creativity. We're going to keep seeing the kind of creativity that's been going on ever since COVID-19 hit, to the extent possible. I mean, I know in Lehigh Valley, you've had the parking lot fireworks shows or the character cruise throughs, drive-in movie theaters in some places, literally having fans drive in on the field. We've seen that in San Jose and Colorado Springs. So I think teams are just going to continue to think about ways they can bring in revenue, ways they can still engage with the community. Hopefully keep as much of their staffs as possible. I mean, that's obviously a difficult position for a lot of people to be in. And it's tough. And when I talked about it, when I put that video up on Twitter, I tried to be positive about it and really do talk about how there is such a love for minor league baseball, both, from the fans who consistently show up and the people who work in minor league baseball. And I really do believe that simple love for the game is going to keep it going in some way, shape, or form. But that form come 2021 might be different than anything we're used to. So it's a tough balance, especially for me as a writer and as someone who kind of tries to speak for minor league baseball as much as possible. Hopefully not in a presumptuous way, but someone who tries to contextualize everything. It's tough to be realistic about the current reality, but at the same time project a hope for the future, because we've made it this far. I mean, the sport of baseball has made it this far, minor league baseball has made it this far, and there's so many people who want to keep it going in some way, shape, or form, and that's all we can really hope for right now. And I do have faith, long-term faith and optimism, despite how rough it is right now.
Yeah, Ben, I know in the video right away you touched on how, you knew teams were going to innovate right away. And obviously we saw that right away with, I think Bowie was the first I saw with the undefeated season shirt, and a lot of teams since. Myrtle Beach with a great shirt that I purchased right away, and a lot of stuff like that. What are some trends you expect to see here headed forward? Obviously, we know people are going to be having events. And I know you touched on it and if you guys don't listen to the Show Before the Show podcast, Ben's a guest on there pretty much every episode, right?
Yeah, I do a segment every week that usually drops every Thursday, the official MiLB.com podcast with Tyler Mon and Sam Dykstra.
Yeah, so check that out if you haven't. It's a great listen. But, what are some things you think going into next year we might see a little different, or this year, anything that, obviously you've seen it all. So what is something that you think might be coming up here in the future?
Everything is different, about this season. So literally everything that has happened so far has been different. And it is funny. You mentioned, the season was officially canceled, on Tuesday around 5:00, and by 5:30 the Bowie Bay Sox are selling undefeated season T-shirts, and I think we'll see a lot of that. This is a serious situation, but if you can't have fun with this in minor league baseball on some level, then you can't have fun with anything. I mean, minor league baseball is about making the best of a bad situation. And so we're seeing an increasing number of undefeated teams throughout the country, and teams marketing themselves as undefeated in 2020, which is technically true. But I keep thinking, if you're saying you're undefeated, that means you had to beat somebody. So who's the team taking all the losses right now? That's kind of what I want to know. But Yeah, in terms of going forward, just like I said before, just a constant bit of improvisation, and so much improvisation too, because we don't have a handle on COVID-19 in terms of what's going to be allowed. And you're probably seeing this in Lehigh Valley, but teams are having trouble definitively making plans because so much is fluid regarding what may or may not be allowed at their ballpark. So you kind of have to act real quickly once you have a sense of that. But a lot of times you really might not know. And I think there's like contingency plan upon contingency plan, and plan A, B, C, or D, or just scrap all those and go in another direction. So this is an industry of improvisation, even in the best of times, and now it's just going to be that much more.
Absolutely. One of the things I was looking at is, you've probably covered the last 6 months of promotions as they got released. And, obviously at this point for 2020, none of those are going to happen. So what do you think is going to be the best, go down in history as the best 2020 promotion that never happened? And I'll answer this for us because we know we were about to have a bring your pet plant to the park night, which we've discussed on the podcast before, that won't happen, and I'm not sure we can drum up the steam again for that one to hit the 2021 calendar.
Put a lot of marketing dollars behind that for waste.
Right. And so what, of all the teams, which one do you think you would have most liked to seen for 2020 that now may not happen?
Well, that's a good question, because I think the majority of promotions that are scheduled for 2020, we will see a lot of them in 2021. I was talking to a promotion director the other day who kind of was like, well, one silver lining is that I have 80% of my 2021 schedule already done, because it's just kind of taking everything you planned for 2020 and now putting it into 2021. Then you think of the ripple effect of that, and that means teams aren't going to be ordering the same amounts of bobbleheads and giveaway items, and it's just going to put a strain on this wide ecosystem, this whole industry that supports minor league baseball through the giveaway items and things like that. But anyway, I'm going on tangents already. In terms of 2020, I've been keeping a thread on Twitter at Ben's Biz, highlighting just promotions every single day that would have happened on this date, and there's been a lot of great stuff there. I'd like to think that most of them will continue in 2021. In terms of one that certainly won't happen again, that's a good question. I'd like to think that everything happening is replicable, that it can happen again. Well, I do know some teams had, bob elections scheduled, the bobblehead-based presidential elections. So definitely can't do that in 2021. And, just given the current environment, maybe that's for the best. Let's just maybe put scrap all the politics in a ballpark, because it just doesn't end well. But no bob elections, between Biden and Trump. And I don't know how much is really, people are really going to be mourning that one. But yeah, in terms of others that are just 100% rooted in 2020 that can't happen, I mean, there's some awkward anniversary stuff. I imagine that teams, who had anniversary logos or specific anniversary themed promos might just make 2021 an honorary, even if it's now their 26th season. They're like, you know what, we're still going to schedule, pretend this is 25 because, we had all these festivities around it. So I think we'll see a lot of that carry over, even if the number is not quite as round and meaningful.
Yeah, it's going to be like every birthday party I've accidentally run into in an Applebee's where it's her 40th birthday again. I feel like we're going to see a few of those for like every movie that was released this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that, all the pop culture anniversaries, that are celebrating whatever, 25th. Maybe we'll just celebrate the 26th anniversary. You're absolutely right.
I got a feeling the promo of 2020 is probably going to be the mystery giveaway. I think that we're going to see a lot of those, a lot of leftover bobbleheads, a lot of stuff that they don't know what to do with, and it's going to be first 2,500 mystery giveaway. I think we're going to be seeing that.
Yeah, there's definitely a big element of mystery in the promos, and a lot of teams, selling the mystery boxes, kind of getting rid of some of the excess giveaway items, and I've seen those be pretty popular on Twitter. I know these things don't really come all that close to replacing the revenue of a game day, but any little thing you can, and I think people like mystery. I like mystery. In a way, it's just more fun to not know what you're going to get.
Yeah, those have definitely done well for us, so I can see that happening. And the giveaway, I like that idea also. I know we did one, I don't know if it was like by accident, I can't remember what team it was, or maybe you were there, where we had like the bobbleheads came in, and they were just in like white boxes, but they were like different ones inside, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
So it was an accidental mystery bobblehead giveaway. So I'm sure we'll see more and more of those. But speaking of anniversaries, you have one coming up fairly soon on your graduation from the University of Pittsburgh. I'm a Pittsburgh guy myself. What I'm most interested, though, is how much did you take away from working in 92, the Pickle, that you can attribute to your successful career today?
Wow, I was not expecting a University of Pittsburgh type question. Yeah, I graduated in 2001, and I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, I've got an anniversary coming up in the near future. I absolutely love the city of Pittsburgh, 100%. I grew up, not too far from the Lehigh Valley. I grew up in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, in Ambler, Pennsylvania. Then went across the state and spent my college years in Pittsburgh. And I didn't actually take any journalism classes or aspire to be a writer when I was in college. I was 100% a college radio guy, 92.1 WPTS. You can still call them, I hope, at the same number, 412-383-9787-383, or 412-383 WPTS. And that was huge. That was my social scene. That was, I became the music director at the end of my freshman year. Kind of a combination, I guess, of some luck and skill. In a lot of ways, as good as this job has been, being music director of a college radio station was maybe the best job I ever had. I would, 19 years old, and I would just go up to the station and have a bucket of mail every day, just CDs and records to go through and listen to, and just the coolest thing in the world. And I still romanticize it all the time. My DJ name was DJ Futon, and I don't really even remember the origin story of that. And later on, I was DJ Sanctimonious Jerkface, in that very college, cool guy humor sort of way.
Wow. That's great. Who's doing the DJ Futon bobblehead this year is my question. Somebody out there listening, make that happen.
We're going to have to probably edit it out, and we can do it ourselves.
Or that, yeah.
If we can get a special appearance, we'll do it.
Oh, man, that would be the ultimate. I would love it. I'm not sure how much the average fan would be into it, but I would absolutely love it.
We'll call it a kids giveaway. We'll do a limited run, I guess.
Maybe that's something for Innovator Summit. First 1,000 people on the first day of the Innovator Summit get to see a DJ Futon bobblehead.
That could be it. We could just sell them. What are we talking? Why are we doing giveaways? We're going to sell these.
Yeah, this all is being edited. We're selling this, so.
We'll cut you in. Don't worry. Anyway.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
We're back on track. So there's been a lot of talk about, obviously, all right, season cancellation. There's been a lot of minor league baseball, major league baseball talk. I do not want to get into the list right now, or really probably ever, being that I worked at some of those teams, and that's a different story. But what I'm curious about is there's been some talk about an MLB expansion, obviously. Now, you've been everywhere, and a lot of those places they're talking about expanding to already have a team. So in your professional opinion, or maybe your unprofessional opinion, what MILB market, or what non-baseball market, perhaps, is going to be the best for an MLB expansion?
Ooh, and that question, you touched on so much briefly. I mean, about the landscape in minor league baseball, and the negotiations between major and minor league baseball, and then how, even if minor league baseball is contracted somehow, how it would have to expand in some form for an expansion team, and then how some of those expansion teams currently have minor league teams that then would lose that minor league team because they're getting a major league team. And that's one of the things I've always liked about minor league baseball, is just how many moving parts there are. And in terms of a city, a current minor league city, I think the obvious answer is Las Vegas. Just the way they're added NHL, adding NFL. It seems like they could perhaps do well with MLB as well. But the Aviators ballpark opened just last year, and that is the most major league facility in minor league baseball in a lot of ways. I'm not sure though if it could be expanded to actually accommodate a major league team, but. Las Vegas, Nashville is another kind of obvious choice. Again, a city with a very nice AAA ballpark, so it gets a little awkward of like, well, what do you do with this nice AAA ballpark if you're trying to get an MLB team in? And then, I would personally think it'd be really cool to see baseball return to Montreal. Just, growing up as a kid, Phillies fan, National League East, They always played the Expos. I kind of always liked the Expos, and I think it'd be cool to see that city get another chance in a ballpark that's a little different than, Olympic Stadium. So that might be my personal choice. But I think there's a lot of good choices out there, and hey, the more baseball, the better.
Speaking of, real quick, you grew up as a Phillies fan in probably one of the worst eras of Phillies baseball ever. Who's your favorite Philly of all those terrible 90s and 2000 teams aside from 93?
Yeah, that's the thing, 100%. My first memories of the Phillies are just after, they won the World Series in 80 and were there again in 83. That was before my time, before my memory. And then when I really clicked in as a fan, like 1985 or so, as a little kid, between 85 and 2000, their only winning season they had was 1993. Mm-hmm. But, I wore that as a badge of honor because the Phillies weren't really cool to like, and I always wore Philly shirts, and I always, loved going to the games. And then I kind of had some resentment once the Phillies got good, and everyone's like, oh, the Phillies, I love the Phillies. And I was like, where were you? I didn't see you in the upper deck of the vet in 1999, that's for sure. But, I don't want to be a jerk. Baseball's for everyone, and I love when the Phillies are popular. But in terms of favorite players, my first hero ever in sports was Mike Schmidt. Towards the tail end of his career, I was a gigantic Mike Schmidt fan, and then Von Hayes and Juan Samuel were like my two peripheral favorite players. And then, of course, as that era transitioned into the team that really gelled in 1993, John Kruk and Lenny Dykstra, in particular, are two that I loved. In a lot of ways, Lenny Dykstra, for as, quote-unquote problematic as he is, or as he's become in a lot of ways, Lenny Dykstra is maybe my favorite Philly of all time. I just love that mentality, that all-out, crazy, hustling, slamming into walls, spitting tobacco everywhere kind of mentality. And oh man, I loved that team. I've been actually having some virtual Phillies hangs with friends, where I find an old game on YouTube and we watch it virtually, and seen some games in '93 and just remembering how much I love that team. But I also really love the late '90s teams. They never really win anywhere, but those '98, '99 teams. Rico Bronya, Ron Gant came in there.
Yeah.
Scott Rowland, Desi Relaford. Doug Glanville. They really were a scrappy bunch and had a lot of classic games that not enough people remember. So I always like to champion that era as well.
Well, if you guys are looking, now that the Phillies are hot or big news again with stupid money, if you're looking for a team that you want to like that no one else likes, I'll welcome you to the Buccos bandwagon. Because it's been, I don't even know, before I was born, since that team's been even remotely relevant. With the one exception.
One year, except for 1 year.
3 years where they averaged over 90 wins.
Yeah, true.
And then they just run McCutcheon out of town for no reason.
To the good side of the state.
Well, eventually, sure. We won't get into that.
Yeah.
I have so what's funny is, Ben, when we talk to others that are, like front office sales in the industry, we have these like weird things that we just like, they'll start saying something and we're like, oh, that's just like a minor league thing. And we don't even say it. We just like, no, that's the most minor league thing ever. And once we recall those memories, that's kind of the case. I feel like I was listening to something that you put out, and it was probably about 4 years ago at this point. And I'm like, man, there's probably this whole other side of like, whether it's writers or like, the broadcasters, they have their own thing because they travel to these other ballparks and they experience these weird things. The one thing that stuck out to me though, and I have to now get your review. So if I missed the review on this, I apologize. But in 2016, you were in South Carolina and you stopped at a beef jerky outlet store and you bought some crickets to eat, and I just have to know how they were.
Yeah, they're not bad at all, and I've actually had crickets multiple times since then. That is one of the things I miss so much about, my job is, yes, minor league baseball itself, but just that my job has given me the opportunity to travel, and those sort of, stores on the side of the road, fireworks / beef jerky stores, or, Florida citrus if you're in that part of the country, or, jams and pickles and all that kind of stuff. I just love it. The crickets, if you didn't know they're crickets, they're totally good. They're just kind of crunchy and salty. And since then, El Paso Chihuahuas last year were selling them, for like $2 a bag. I think they were called like chapulines. And I had some there. I was in Mexico on a vacation, actually, just in February, and had some down there. No problem for me eating crickets. Good source of protein, crunchy, a good like kind of bar type snack, and I feel it's a good way to kind of expand your palate. I'm all about it, and would recommend eating insects. Although there's certain insects, when it gets into grubs, I see sometimes people eat grubs. That might be a little tough when you get kind of into the maggot family. Not sure about that.
I didn't even know grubs were a thing. I thought they just like called it that in The Lion King, and like they weren't real bugs or anything. And now you're talking to a guy that's only eaten chicken tenders for 30 some years, so I'm not the one to speak on this topic, but that just seems so bizarre to me to eat any type of insect at all.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to, but as I said, I'd recommend expanding the horizon.
Ben, well, I think you just might have low-key came up with the next minor league baseball team name right there, the Maggot Family. That could certainly be someone's name. But
you never know.
Going off that a little bit, I know I've seen you tweet about this in the past. Obviously, we're a part of a two-name team in the Iron Pigs, and it's been a two-name revolution for years, except for a handful of teams. And what do you think? Where does it stop? Where do we go from here? We have to go back to single-name teams, and I think it's up to you to take a stand on this.
Yeah, I try not to editorialize too much. It is crazy. I mean, you guys were obviously at the forefront. As you obviously know, when the Iron Pigs came out, that was kind of like, what? No way, that's crazy. And then that became kind of routine, and just like you just didn't think about it. Almost traditional in its own way after a while. And I remember when the El Paso came out, and it was like, this isn't a two-word team name, but when Chihuahuas was one of their finalists, and everyone's like, haha, they won't actually be the Chihuahuas, and then they were, and it was like, what? And then now it's like, Chihuahuas? Oh yeah, who cares? That's cool. And then, all the way up to this year, again with a two-name team, but like Trash Pandas, I think is the new vanguard for just, how far it can go. And I just have learned to not be surprised. Because every time I think we hit a limit, it goes a little further. And I kind of like that because it just has people talking. But I do feel like at what point does, I feel like the line is bending right now, but not quite breaking. And at what point do we see like the kind of conservative reaction to just how far it's gone in this direction? And I do get annoyed a little bit by the two-name team sometimes. And I'm still writing, and to this day, sometimes I'm just like, wait, what? Tin caps? Is that like all one word but the capital C, or is it tin and then space caps? And it's hard to keep track of all of it. And when you talk about teams changing affiliations, changing names, changing leagues, and of course their player base is always subject to change, it's a hard world to explain to people. And I'm sure you guys know it, and the casual fan often has no real idea what's going on in the world of minor league baseball, because it is complex and hard to keep track of, and the names are always changing, and they just keep getting weirder. So I'm not sure if I'm going to lead a charge against the weird names, but I won't be totally surprised when we boomerang back the other way eventually, probably.
Keep in mind, the irony of the guy asking this question is currently wearing a Sugar King shirt.
Listen, Havana Sugar Kings were the original double-name team.
Yeah, there you go. Go. And,
I'm not gonna let you.
Yeah, they made the International League truly international, too.
Exactly.
So, speaking of travel, though, there's been some momentum, and it's probably fake. So I'd like to see you weighing in on what you think right now. But there's been some momentum I've heard about bringing a team back to Hawaii.
Has there been?
Wow. There has been momentum, I'm telling you. I've heard people now been talking about it.
PCL bringing the Hawaii team back?
I don't think I've been too privy to that momentum. I hear it romanticized quite a bit, and I'm sure I can only, at least in terms of the current minor league setup, when Hawaii last had a team, that was the Pacific Coast League, and that's the only league I could really see it working. But it's already hard enough to travel in that league, and trips to Hawaii, I think the players would like it, but just from a player development perspective, I don't know. I'm going to have to look into. I think this momentum has been passing me by thus far. I need to get a little more tapped in and catch that Hawaiian energy. But I do hear people talk about that team. I think it's the franchise that then became Colorado Springs Sky Sox was the last one in Hawaii, and then that team now went to San Antonio and became the Missions, replacing a Double-A Missions that went to Amarillo. See, this is why minor league baseball is too confusing.
Isn't it great? Isn't it just the best? Islanders had a nice run, though. They led the PCL in attendance for like 5 straight years before they realized this is insane.
And Bucco's affiliate.
Who? Hawaii?
Yes, they were.
Oh, God.
Yes, they were.
That's like Vegas and the Mets, early days.
Right. Well, I have to admit, that Ben, this is a bit of a setup question, and I'm about to air out my co-host here.
Oh, here we go.
You mentioned reasons that the team in Hawaii wouldn't work very much, but I have to tell you, I've heard a pitch from this guy so many times
Oh, my God.
that he thinks the best thing to do is to have a team's home stadium be on an aircraft carrier, and then they would travel around and they would dock at the opposing team's city and play their home games there. So do you have any thoughts on this?
Putting aside the feasibility of it, which seems pretty remote, I do like it. It would get endless press, and I'm not too up on like maritime law, but I think they could probably get into international waters and probably do some stuff you couldn't get away with on land. So I'd be pretty into that to see, the kind of anything goes promo schedule of a team that's playing on international waters, and make it AAA, and then it's the international league again. We got a team drifting about, up and down the eastern seaboard, or however it works. I don't know, but I like it. I'm on board. I'll promote it.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that.
It could be a Pirates affiliate, and they could have live piracy.
Yes.
That's an option.
Always. Yeah.
I just, this guy sells tickets for a living. I'm like, how are you going to sell a season ticket when the aircraft is going to a different city every game?
Listen, the season ticket's going to be a hell of a commitment. You're going to have to go with the team, but...
You're going to live on a boat.
I think they could dock in a location, though, too. They could have, like, a home where they dock, and you can go as their home fans. But then you also go for your away games, you go a little closer. It's all about the ambiance. Or maybe you play your home games in a stadium, and then your road games are on the... I don't know.
He's still thinking it through, so maybe in a couple years he'll have a little more detail.
Listen, someday you guys will see. You'll see. All right, Ben. Everyone always asks you what's your favorite promotion. Where's your favorite place you've been? We're not going to ask that, right?
No, that's a stupid question if you're in the industry.
Okay, so I want to know what is, and you can answer this however you want. What is either the worst promotion or what's the promotion you're just tired of seeing? We were actually talking before you were on that you came out last year to see us, and of all nights it was Star Wars night, which is like just beaten into the ground at this point. So what's the promotion that you're just like, I don't want to see that anymore?
Yeah, it's something I struggle with a bit as a writer because I have nothing against, Star Wars night. It's not very interesting to me as someone who, sees 35 jerseys a year and, tries to write about it in a creative way. So I do get a little bored of the things that are played out, but, the proof is in the pudding. If teams can sell out on Star Wars night, of course they're going to keep doing it. And I'm not so arrogant to think that, my opinions as a sort of niche weirdo writer who just wants to see crazy things happen, I don't have to worry about getting people in the park. So I'm always like advocating ideas that probably have no really means to generate any sort of revenue. They're just kind of funny or crazy. But my least favorite promos are the ones that have just been done again and again, because as a writer who's always looking for new material, it's hard to get new material from something you've seen a lot of times. But even when it's something old, you just try to find a new element. I don't know if you guys were the first team to ever do an on-field Jedi training, but it was the first Star Wars night I ever attended that had an on-field Jedi training. And so that was fun and that was unique. So, I don't like to criticize as much as I just kind of like to find the positive in anything. And, it's been a good career strategy for me, just writing for the, official website of minor league baseball. I always try to be honest, but, I'm not there to kind of visit a team and just rip them to shreds publicly, because probably wouldn't be good for my own bottom line. So it's about finding the positive, always being honest, and hopefully there's always a takeaway of just something that's kind of like, I've never seen that before, whether it's an element of an otherwise played out promo, whether it's a concession item, whether it's just something crazy that happened in the fireworks show, or who knows what. And I think that's why we all stay in minor league baseball, because with so many games a year and so much happening all the time, there's just little weird things that can happen even within the otherwise most mundane situations.
Speaking of that, I mean, what you're talking about, we know exactly those situations. Like, I can remember when we had a goat get onto the field in center field one time. We had a skunk on the field, and then it went behind the tarp.
In the tarp?
It went in the tarp, and there was a threat of rain, so we're like, all right, do we roll this skunk out? Is PETA going to come? Like, how do we catch a skunk? Because I've never really been in the woods, so I don't know what to do with it or what you do with it when you catch it. What's the weirdest thing you've seen at a game that you've been attending?
That is a good question. I feel like I should have an answer for that in my back pocket of like, because there's so much weird stuff. But it does kind of blend, like the weirdest thing. What was the weirdest thing? Oh man, I'm gonna have to take the fifth on that for right now. Is that how this works?
That's fine.
You could tweet us. You could tweet us later on and let us know what it is. Let the fan base know.
Yeah. What is the weirdest thing? It's a little bit of a cop out, but one answer, sort of along those lines, I always go to, just because I think it speaks to my own career and what attracted me to this is, I didn't get hired to do the job I do, and it just kind of happened incidentally and took a long time to come together. But I first started writing about promos in like 2006, just because like an editor who was otherwise busy was like, "Hey, I'm writing this column. Can you just take it on?" And that opened me up to the world of promos. And then it was the first time I ever visited a ballpark to see a promotion and write about it as a quote unquote professional was going to see the Altoona Curve on do Awful Night back in when they used to do that every year. Yep. And they gave away sporks at the gate, and they had this like shirtless man with a cape singing falsetto take me out to the ball game, and they had like errors on the scoreboard on purpose, and that was the kind of spirit I was always drawn to. And I kind of tried to set like the kind of base level of weirdness around that, kind of like, that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm looking for. I want to find the things that teams are doing that might not bring in a ton of fans necessarily, but this speaks to a creative spirit and speaks to how much you can quote unquote get away with when you have 70 games on the schedule. And sometimes you just need to do things that are fun for you and your staff, just to keep everyone engaged and just have that mutual feeling of like, I can't believe we actually pulled that off. I'm sure you felt that before. I know everyone working in minor league baseball has felt that before. Like, I can't believe we actually did that. It's a pretty cool thing about minor league baseball.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the most fun thing is, being able to, like you said, put some wild idea together and have it actually be successful, and then be like, man, that was a lot of fun, and have a beer. All right, Ben, so we're going to wrap up here in a minute, but we got one more question. We ask everybody this question. Huge part of our podcast is plants. What would you say your favorite plant is? What's your plant situation like in your apartment? And if you don't have any, why?
So you were the volume was a little low there, so I just want to confirm that what is my in-home plant situation? Is that?
Yeah, what's your favorite plant? If you have a lot of plants, you can go plant of the week. If you don't have any, you can explain why, and then we'll tell you why you need more.
Okay, well, I want to say first off that I have an evolving plant situation, and it's not something I've prioritized in the past. I think a lot of time I was single or traveling a lot. I had some cats for a while, and I was always paranoid about them eating some plant that was poisonous. But actually, right around quarantine, my girlfriend moved in with me, and not to stereotype, but a feminine touch. It adds to more plant-based life around a living environment. It's kind of helped me see the error of my ways in a lot of ways. I'm standing here in my kitchen right now, and I've been buying herbs at the farmer's market lately, and this mint plant that I bought for $5 is just sprouting up, and now we have this, I don't want to say endless, but this supply of mint that you can just pick right off, and that
smells great
so cool.
too.
It's such a simple thing, but I never thought about that before. I thought mint was this mysterious thing that was not accessible to the common man. So that has been exciting. Before she moved in, the only plant I had was this succulent that my friend gave me because it's pretty easy to take care of. I'm looking at it now, and there's like dust on some of the leaves, so that makes me feel bad.
That's great.
But it's hanging in there. I water it every 10 days, and it's still going strong. So props to the hardy succulent. But I'm all for recommendations and learning as I go because it's a new era in a lot of ways for all of us.
Well, I mean, that's a good start.
It is.
Succulent's an easy way in, obviously. Like air plants is another one that technically don't even have roots or anything, so that's a good one.
I've had a lot of mint plants in my life. Had a lot, killed a lot, but they're a good plant.
Well, and the thing is, it's weird. You mentioned it, you just thought it was this mystical extract that you buy in the store, but pretty much everything. If you start to look at all right, I'm about to eat this thing, if I just save like 1/100th of this, I can plant it and then just have more like forever.
Yep.
Or like the piece of the avocado you throw out. Like technically, you can just throw it in some dirt, and you're gonna have a tree, and then you can have avocados for the rest of your life. And if people thought that way, like, isn't that weird? We don't think that way anymore. Like that's how every human thought. Like, oh, I have to save some of this to make more, otherwise I'll die. And now we just don't even like know where things come from. It's been a long journey for human beings for sure.
Certainly.
But I'm gonna recommend to you a ZZ plant, and it's according to NASA, it's a top 10 in terms of filtration of air, but it's also incredibly easy to care for. I know he's probably about to recommend a snake plant.
I'm going to recommend a snake plant to everybody. You can't kill it. It doesn't need light. It barely needs water. So I'm always going to recommend the snake plant. I just had somebody text me today, ask me about plants. I said, snake plant. You got to do it.
Yeah.
It's an easy plant.
Yeah. Well,
It's a confidence builder.
It is. Well, ZZ is easy also. ZZ easy. Wow.
ZZ easy. There you go.
All right. Anyway, that's our expertise on this interview, at least. So,
Well, that's interesting. I didn't think that's a topic we'd be going to, but it's one I find myself more interested in than probably at any point in my life, just because I'm home a lot more and more domestic. And like you said, I've been going to the farmers market every week, and just like you were saying, like actually becoming in touch with like what's actually in season and where it comes from is very satisfying thing. So. A lot of negatives in the world right now, but I think that's a good thing amid all this is to slow down and, just look around you and be more aware of the food you're eating and where you're getting it and what you can grow at home. And I think we need to take some positives, and I like that you guys are on that same journey as well.
Yeah. We'll welcome. And once you work your way up, we'll have some more recommendations all the way up to like a dragon fruit cactus. Mm-hmm. And as you grow in your plant expertise, we'll get you there. So we're always available to you along the way. Just let us know. We'll help you out.
This is good. I think I need a plant tutor, or a plant.
There you go.
Plant. I don't know what the official word
Gladly
for
help
it is,
you.
but
A mentor.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
We're
about
doing
it
it for the love of the game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't charge anything.
Nope.
Oh, maybe we should.
No, I think we'll
talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think on this one.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for Sold Out Podcast this week. Huge thanks to Ben.
Yeah,
Thank you
Ben.
so much for coming on.
Ben, you're the best. Thanks. If you're in minor league baseball, I'm sure you already follow Ben. If you don't follow him, Ben, what's the at? It's at Ben's Biz. Easy for me to say, right?
Yeah. Thank you guys. Twitter.
If you're not in minor league
MiLB.com.
baseball, follow Ben. He is the man when it comes to this. And check out the website too on MLB.com, MiLB.com. He has all his articles up there. Just came out with a new article. MiLB knows how to set off the sparks. All about his fireworks. And you've been doing the little known facts about different leagues and things like that. So follow Ben. Check him out. Try to get those 2 articles out a week so we can get him some clicks.
That's right. Thank you guys.
All right. Thanks.